Hey, good morning, beautiful people. So Erika Kirk did a town hall. I'm going to react with it with you. Everything I share is for educational phrase purposes only. I'm going to get right into the video because of the sake of time. Okay. And hopefully, y'all hear it okay. Now, I haven't seen this one yet.
And a conservative activist.
One moment, Charlie was doing what he loved.
That's a different question.
Arguing and debating on campus.
Hopefully you can hear it.
You're thinking way too simple about this. You got to go deeper.
Truth. In front of a big crowd, and then he blinked. He blinked. And saw his savior in paradise.
Even as he had all of these positions, many of them seen as controversial on different issues, he had a huge galaxy of support on America's right. All of these positions.
When you stop the conversation, when you stop the dialogue, this is what happens. When we lose the ability and the willingness to communicate, we get violence.
CBS News presents A Town Hall with Erika Kirk.
Should be interesting.
Good evening. I'm Barry Weiss, editor-in-chief of CBS News, and I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let me tell you why we're here. If you're watching this or you're sitting here in this room with me, you know what I know, which is that we live in a very divided country, a country where many people feel that they can't speak across the political divide. Sometimes they feel they can't even speak across their own kitchen table. And one of the goals of the new CBS News is to change that. And this town hall is just the beginning. This is going to be the first of many conversations and debates on CBS News about the things that matter most, which are often the hardest to talk about. I can make one promise to you, and it's this. You will not agree with everything you hear tonight or in any of these other broadcasts. And that is exactly the point. Because the premise of a democracy is that we persuade each other with words and not violence. And that the only way to get to the truth is by talking to one another.
Hey, Claude, I
that
see
brings
you.
me right to tonight's guests, Erika Kirk. 3 months ago, Erika Kirk's husband, Charlie, was assassinated on a college campus in Utah. To some, Charlie Kirk was controversial. To others, he was heroic. What is indisputable is that he transformed the American right in the 21st century. He did it through an organization called Turning Point USA, which he founded when he was only 18 years old. In the wake of Charlie's murder, Erika has now picked up his mantle. The mother of 2 young children, she is also now the CEO and chairwoman of Turning Point. Now, Charlie's murder was not an isolated tragedy. And tonight in the audience, we have other victims of the political violence that's ripping through this country. We also have religious leaders, college students, young Christians, and others invited by CBS News. You're going to be hearing from some of them tonight. Okay, we have a lot to talk about. So Erika, let's get started. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I was very grateful when you had reached out because it was an opportunity to be able to have a conversation that Charlie always enjoyed, being able to have dialogue on both sides so that people could really hear everything that's going on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for making the time. There's so many subjects I want to cover. I want to begin with the hours and days after your husband was murdered.
Yes.
You got up in his podcast studio where he broadcasted from for many hours every day.
Yeah.
And you said this. You said, "You have no idea what you have just unleashed." What did you mean by that?
Let me give you a little background of that day. We get home. The team goes to dinner. I'm laying in my daughter's bed and I can't sleep. It took me months to even walk into my bedroom. I'm laying in my daughter's bed. I can't sleep. I grab my phone and I start typing out it. And those are my words. That morning, the team reached out to me and said, they think they got the guy. You should probably say thank you to the authorities and just make a statement. I said, okay.
She looks a lot more composed than she has before. And this is my first time seeing this, you guys. I'm interested to see what she has to say, but she looks good.
I wasn't afraid. They said, let's go to the office and let's discuss. We're at the office and they say, do you want to go live? Or we can easily, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. We can easily pre-record this. I said, absolutely not. My husband always went live. I have nothing to hide. We're fully transparent. What you see is what you get. If I start breaking down.
To the person that said Charlie Kirk once said that empathy is destroying our country, Grim. But what was the context, though?
On live TV, I break down on live TV. My husband was assassinated. He didn't die in a car accident. So we go live. I write all of my own speeches. And when I said that, that is the Holy Spirit that is unleashed. That is a revival that's unleashed. That's not meant for call to violence. That's meant for people to understand that the Lord is moving in ways we have no idea. And God is going to use something so tragic to wake people up to realize that our life is short. He only lived 31 years. Damn. 31 years. And so, yes, you have no idea what has been unleashed. But I will promise until my last breath that I will let the Lord use me in ways that he only can to bring glory to him and to the kingdom. And it has been unbelievably powerful. And it's just the beginning.
Erika, one of the most alarming things about Charlie's murder was the way that some people in this country reacted to it.
Yeah.
And not just online. This was an idea that you encountered a lot. And the idea was this. They kind of justified it. They basically said that because Charlie said or believed things that they believed were controversial or even hateful, that he somehow had it coming. What do you say to people who justified his death?
You're sick. He's a human being.
Daddy.
You think he deserved that? Tell that to my 3-year-old daughter. Excuse me. You want to watch in high res the video of my husband being murdered and laugh and say he deserves it? There's something very sick in your soul, and I pray that God saves you. I pray, because that is what is so wrong. The internet in this world has dehumanized.
Do you guys sympathize with Erika? Any of you?
Us. My husband did something very simple. He talked to people. You're going to be murdered for talking to people. He didn't go after people. He went after your ideas. And if you think it's okay to murder someone because you think they had it coming for them because they took the time to have people come to the front of the line if they didn't agree with you, and you think it's okay because you don't like what they say or how they say it, that they should be murdered, and you're enjoying it and you're rejoicing in that? That is evil. Evil. Excuse me.
As you know,
Hi, Cameron. I see you.
one of the ideas that has gained a lot of traction among young people, especially in this country, Erika, is, and this leads them to this kind of justification, is the idea that words themselves are violence. And that brings us tonight to our first audience question. It comes from...
Before we get to the audience questions, you guys, how are y'all blaming Donald Trump? Trump had nothing to do with this. Interested in Tyler and what's happening in that trial, but stop blaming MAGA for everything.
Angel Eduardo. Angel is a senior writer and editor for the civil libertarian group, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE, and he writes passionately about issues of free speech. Angel.
Thank you, Barry. Excuse me. Erika, my condolences. A recent survey that we took after Charlie's assassination found that 90% of undergraduates believe to some extent that words can be violence. Another FIRE survey that we took earlier also found that 1/3 of surveyed students believe that using violence to stop disfavored speech can be acceptable, at least in rare cases. What's your response to those numbers? And what would you say to those students in particular?
Good morning, Daniel.
Well, for the people who say that my husband might have incited violence, I know that was not your question, but I'm going to put a squash on it before anyone else can attach to that. My husband never incited violence. He never once said, go after them because they're saying X, Y, Z and they deserve to die. My husband never once said that, and he never would. What did he say? Come to the front of the line. I'll put my mic down. Tell me why you believe that. Well, that's interesting. I never thought of that. But have you thought of this? People heckling, laughing at them. Stop. It took a lot of courage for them to come up here. Stop doing that. He gave them a microphone. He didn't take away a moment for them to speak back. He gave them a microphone. And what they do, they gave him a bullet in the neck. Totally different. But you have secular revolutionaries that want to come out and say, you can't say that, and I'm going to stop you from saying it. I'm going to... Why? You don't have a conversation. Something as simple as a conversation. And this is what is so fascinating to me. My husband knew that something as simple as having a conversation could change the world. So simple. That is an ancient thing. Come and sit down and have coffee with me. Why do you believe what you believe? 80s and 90s, they were doing this in Congress, then going to have a Subway afterwards. Why don't we do that anymore? Instead, it's violence.
Whether you guys like Charlie Kirk or not, I agree. Nobody should die for the way that they think. And we have the freedom to speak. So how are you guys saying that she's faking? I see a grieving wife, widow. Or
usually
whatever.
One-sided, I'm not going to go there. But you know what's so interesting about my husband's book? The last book he will ever write. It could have been about politics. It could have been about football. It could have been about anything. He was multidimensional. It literally says, stop in the name of God. Stop. Stop the violence. Stop the hate. Have a conversation. Stop. And what he knew in that book was not just so much stop that, take a minute to get off of your phone and realize that we are all human, operating on this broken planet, all sinful, no one's perfect, and we're not getting out of here alive. But what he knew in that book was the balancing factor of communication. You cannot communicate with someone if you're not at peace with yourself. So he went on campus talking to a kid. They're screaming at him. Screaming.
Right fountain of truth.
Does he scream back? Not once. He sits there. And you know what he's thinking? It's in that book. Maybe you need to take a few hours. Get off your phone. Go for a walk in nature. Go sit and have a coffee. Go and tell your mother you love her. Go do something that is beautiful and healing instead of trying to tear something down that you did not build. That's my thought on that.
We're going to talk about the book in a little bit, but I want to pick up on a theme that you've now hit on twice, which is the idea that the black squares that we all have in our pocket, our phones,
yes,
that they are doing something to us collectively, that they are dehumanizing us. Later, we'll talk about the conspiracies that are spreading right now on those platforms about who killed your husband. What do you recommend to people sitting in this room What are your practices to disconnect, to reconnect by disconnecting?
Well, like my husband, I took all of it off my phone.
All social media off your phone?
I don't have it on my phone. I have a team that helps run it. I really, everyone has an opinion about me. I could care less. You know what I care about? I care about what my daughter says about me and her running up into my arms and loving on me. That's what I care about.
One of the things that has happened over the 3 months since Charlie was murdered is that people have gone through the thousands, maybe tens of thousands of hours of words he produced. He said more in 31 years than most people will say in a lifetime. And I want to read a few that have captured the most attention, especially on the political left, okay?
Yeah.
Some gun deaths were, quote, unfortunately worth it to preserve the Second Amendment, he said. Acknowledging that he wishes he didn't feel this way, he said, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. He said the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a mistake. Now, I realize that all of those...
Damn, that was loaded. I wonder if I should have just did... No, that was loaded. Okay.
Quotes come from longer conversations that he had on his show.
Correct.
But he did say those things. And Charlie is being memorialized by many people as a person who promoted civil discourse, as a person who said, come to the front of the line, let's have a civil conversation. How do you square that with the statements I just read?
Oh, thank you for the super chat. You said, hello, dear, wishing you the best. Thank you so much. Wishing you the best yet to come in life. Being that said, I wouldn't trust any of them since Charlie, was warning about they're going to take him down. How come none asked who are they? Huh, that's interesting. I think that's interesting. I don't know. Thank you for the comment and for the super chat.
I would love for everyone to be able to watch the full and entire clip of what he said. Charlie didn't care what skin color you were. He didn't care what religion you were. He loved excellence. He loved knowing that people, his favorite word was earn. He loved knowing that people worked hard to earn what they got. He worked so hard to build Turning Point USA. The first statement you meant about guns and shooting, I have no idea the context of that, and I have no idea that whole, there's a lot more there than just that one little sentence. My husband is not to be deteriorated to 2 sentences. He's not. He is a thought leader, and he was brilliant of a man. So that's fine if you want to take words out of his mouth or out of context without the whole thing in perspective. But that's the problem.
Does it bother you that people are picking out those statements and drawing an entire picture of who he was?
I think to answer that question, Charlie knew that his speech was problematic and they were already getting death threats, according to Erika.
Again, that's the problem. You're not having a conversation. You're having a 15-second clip on the internet to define your thought of who someone is, instead of taking the time to educate yourself on truly who that person is, what they thought, because why? They challenged you to think a little different. Again, my husband was an amazing man. We're human. But I do not once, for 1 second, think he was anything else than exceptional.
Erika, as you know, the last person that Charlie ever spoke to was a Utah Valley student named Hunter Kozak. He was asking Charlie a question that day when he was shot, and he's here tonight, and he wants to ask you a question.
Damn, that's crazy.
Hi there. Erika, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your calls for peace and unity. And I'm likewise horrified by the people in my so-called camp who were cheering about Charlie's murder. I believe that they stoke the flames of violence. But even worse is when powerful, influential people on either side of the aisle stoke the flames. When they do it, the flames can become an inferno. And this leads me to Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth, who has more responsibility than anyone else to put the flames out. Just last month, President Trump called on 6 Democratic lawmakers to be tried punishable by death. The individuals who cheer for violence. I have and will continue to decry them. But any good faith effort to stop political violence must hold both parties to the same standard and expectation. So in that spirit, will you condemn the violent rhetoric of Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth?
I appreciate your question. You know my heart. Why would I ever say, yes, go murder people? This is so much deeper than just one. I understand your sentiment. I do. But this is also so much deeper than just one person. This starts at the home, okay? This starts with family. This starts with a seed that grows and grows. You can choose to have evil in your heart, or you can choose to have light. What you consume and what you absorb from the outside world will manifest itself. No, I will never agree with political violence. My husband is a victim of it. I'm a victim of it. But what I'm trying to say here is that we can blame everyone else. We have to look in the mirror. When you become a father, when you become a mother, how are you raising your kids? Are you taking responsibility, or are you giving them a device and saying, go down that rabbit hole? I'm trying to go to Pilates class. You can just sit in the corner and look at your iPad or look at your phone and go down that rabbit hole and see what you can learn from that instead of being a parent. So my call to action from that is, parents, step up. Do you want your kid to be a thought leader or an assassin? That's where we're at.
Do you think our political leaders have a responsibility to turn the temperature down right now?
Well, I think everyone has a responsibility to do that, and I'm doing my part. I'm not in control of other people.
Okay, ahead.
I want to know, why do you guys think she's faking? Because this lady just lost I can't convince you guys. This lady just lost her husband. What is she supposed to do? But can you guys say why you think she's faking?
Father whose daughter was murdered in cold blood because of who she was. He's here. Also, political violence and the conspiracy theories surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination. Stay with us.
That's going to be interesting because there's a lot of conspiracies. Part of it's because of Candace Owens. Wow. Do you think?
Never before has conservatism, the ideas of freedom, liberty, American exceptionalism, been so popular on these college campuses.
Welcome back to our CBS News Town Hall with Erika Kirk. Bob Milgram is the father of Sarah Milgram. Sarah was fatally shot last May outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C., alongside Yaron Lashinsky, her boyfriend. Sarah was just 26 years old when she was killed. Bob, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Barry. Hello, Erika. Just as our family could not anticipate the pain we've been going through following the murder of our daughter, Sarah, there is no way I can understand the pain that you and your children are going through as a result of Charlie's tragic death. Our daughter was killed because of anti-Semitism, hate against Jews, and hate against the Jewish homeland, Israel. We know about the growth of anti-Semitism on the left, including here in New York City, where the mayor-elect still will not condemn the phrase, globalize the infantata. What I want you to address is growing anti-Semitism on the right, including Holocaust denial, anti-Zionism, and the normalizing of centuries-old conspiracy theories about Jews.
There is no anti-Semitism from the right. I mean, there may be some, but it's not the norm.
Will you here condemn the individuals spreading that hate and speak out clearly enough against anti-Semitism so we can prevent another tragedy?
Yes, sir. First of all, I'm so sorry. You and I are a part of a very small club. Painful. But you're in good company, and I will pray for you. It sucks, doesn't it?
Why is he looking at her like that?
Hate is hate. It's evil. Charlie and I have always been very clear on our stance. Israel, Jewish people. It's awful. Awful. Anti-Semitism is what healing factor comes out of hating Jewish people? What healing factor comes out of hating Christians? What healing factor comes out? Hate in general. Nothing. Nothing. Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel twice together. And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor, how could you hate that place? How could you hate the Jewish people? Why? Because you need to fulfill a conspiracy theory? I'm wrapped in, people say I'm a part of conspiracy theories all the time. It's sick. And it needs to stop. We are human. No one is perfect. No Christian is perfect. No Jew is perfect. No Muslim is perfect. We are broken, sinful humans in need of a Lord and Savior. And that's why it is so important to give your life to the Lord. Because once you do that and you fully surrender to the Lord, you have no room in your heart for hate. And so, sir, I am so sorry what happened to your daughter. I pray that does not happen, and I pray that that is something that we can somehow extinguish in this world. But we are living in enemy-occupied territory. And every single day we need to guard ourselves, guard our minds, guard our heart. And the best way to do that is reading God's word. And you cannot separate the Old Testament from the New Testament. You cannot. You cannot.
Bob, do you want to ask a follow-up?
Is there anything specific that Turning Point can do to combat anti-Semitism?
Yeah, so we are on all of our college campus and high school campuses. We have these conversations. And our students understand exactly my heart and Charlie's heart and the sentiment of everything I just said. We have Shabbat dinner happening at AmFest. We have individuals in our chapters who are Jewish. We have people that are going to be having booths. We have an exhibit hall at AmFest that are Jewish, that have Jewish organizations. The only way to combat evil, just like Charlie did, is with dialogue and not being afraid to do it. If you have these things that are being said, you need to counter it with the truth. And if you don't, there's a void and a vacuum. And so even though they're a small number, they get louder and louder. So we need to do our best, which we're doing our part. We're going to continue to do our part to make sure that the truth is always heard. We'll amplify it even more. And we're going to do the best we can, but we need the whole community. We need everyone in on that.
Bob, thank you so much. I want to talk about discernment.
Yes.
Okay. Being able to separate truth from lies, reality from unreality. A 22-year-old man named Tyler Robinson has been arrested and charged with the murder of your husband. And yet there are a huge number of conspiracy theories, you might call them brain rot, that are spreading right now online about the actual story behind the reality. One, people say that Tyler Robinson was actually a MAGA Republican. Or two, some people say you were actually a Mossad agent sitting in front of me and you were Charlie's handler and Israel killed Charlie.
Right.
Other people say that a number of men in the crowd were wearing maroon t-shirts, and this signifies that his killing was an elite airborne operation, whatever that means. They say that the rings on your fingers, which are
my kids'
initials,
my wedding band, the Medal of Freedom, my engagement ring.
Okay, people would be absolutely ridiculous. Her jury's beautiful. She looks good. Who cares about this stuff? Who cares?
Apparently they symbolize some kind of secret plot. There's also a new theory that Egyptian aircraft have been tracking you. What is going on? Why are there so many conspiracies spreading about what seems to be a pretty open and shut case?
How would she know?
This is the first time that we have seen evil on display where we have social media at our fingertips. Something so evil that happened, people are wanting answers immediately. They are wanting to figure out how to wrap their mind around this. Egyptian planes.
Egyptian
planes.
Do you believe that Tyler Robinson murdered your husband?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think it is so hard for so many people to believe that reality?
Because it's too simple. Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's not. I've seen the autopsy report. I've seen our case pulled together. I've been in constant contact with our lawyers, the prosecuting team. I've seen it all. And let me tell you this. Why in the world, why should we, prior to the trial, lay all of our hands and cards on the table for the defense team to see, to somehow then, I don't even know what they would do with it. But what I will say, and I want to get on the Egyptian plane thing, take a flight on that for a second. What I will say is what I'm worried about, and I'm fascinated, just from a legal standpoint, to see how the United Healthcare trials pans out. And I say that because this is the first time where we are seeing the implications.
You're talking about Luigi Mangione.
Correct. I prefer never to say any of their names. They do not even deserve the ounce of oxygen and breath out of my body. But what I mean is it's fascinating to see how social media will impact that court case, just how it might impact mine.
Are you nervous he's not going to get a fair trial?
I'm nervous that there could be, they'll say we can't find a fair jury. Like they're going to taint the jury pool. And in that case,
that's how widespread you think these conspiracies have gone.
Yes.
That's how mainstream they become. Okay.
Egyptian planes.
You want to have that one? Egyptian planes?
Okay. I was pregnant for 90% of those trips. Mind you, I've never, all those places they said I'd travel, I've never been. I mean, I've been, but I'm not within those states that they've.
But you even said you need to.
No, but this is, yeah, but I do.
People were celebrating Luigi Mangione. I think all of this stuff is just evil. Okay?
I do on that one. Only because, from a humor standpoint, I intentionally, when I was pregnant, hid. Not because I was embarrassed. Not because I didn't want anyone. Yes, we did keep it very private. But because it was a moment very sacred. I was growing a human inside of me. My baby. The world that Charlie and I...
Please double tap that screen and subscribe if you have not. Thank you. But double tap the screen for me, you guys. Thank you.
I live in is very toxic at times.
Yeah.
And when you are growing a beautiful child in you, I don't want to be around it. I want to enjoy eating my In-N-Out burger and my hot fudge sundae. That's what I want to do. I'm pregnant and I have 9 months to own it. You really think I'm going to be on an Egyptian plane while I'm wanting to be with my In-N-Out burger and my chocolate milkshake? No, I'm not. So if you want to go through my flight log, go right ahead. It's very boring. You say I was here on this date. I have a photo on my phone to prove that I actually was in the hospital because I was having contractions. So game on.
She's pretty tough.
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop.
Stop.
That's it.
Great words.
That's all I have to say.
Stop.
Stop.
Okay. The next question.
Okay, I don't know if you guys have been watching Candace Owens. Do you agree with Candace Owens? I kind of feel like she's profiting off of this person's misery. And Charlie Kirk was supposed to be her friend. And I believe she's exploiting that.
Comes from a person who may be familiar to you, Erika, because Charlie interviewed him for his show last August. Rob Henderson, to you.
Thank you, Barry. And thank you, Erika. During that discussion with Charlie, neither of us knew that was going to be the last long-form interview he would ever conduct, because his life was cut short by the actions of a very disturbed young man. As someone who admired Charlie's ability to offer young people a productive and optimistic path, I wanted to ask, how should the conservative movement think about cultivating leaders and role models for young men? And how can it continue offering them a constructive alternative to the toxic currents Charlie so astutely criticized?
It's a great question. First of all, your interview was amazing. It's one of my favorite ones to look back on. Charlie connected with you very well. And I can always tell when he does on his show. I've always watched his show. And I could always tell because his questions and his engagement would shift. And he always loved that conversation with you. As the CEO of Turning Point USA, it is my responsibility to make sure that our youth is in good hands. Our chapter leaders are amazing. And there's some leaders within those groups you guys have not even seen or heard about yet, but you will one day, and you'll be blown away because they are amazing kids. We had 2 of them at our gala event this weekend, and they spoke in front of our donors. It was the first time I ever met them. Phenomenal kids. Not only are they smart, they have a heart. Not only do they have a heart, they can understand and see the Gen Z landscape in a way that we can't. And from a peer-to-peer communication level, they're phenomenal. So I personally, having a front row seat to the rising generation, the courageous generation, they're amazing. Yes, there are bad apples. Millennials, we got them too. So do the baby boomers. So does Gen X. No one's escaping the bad apples. It's just the batch. But it is our responsibility, my responsibility, our team's responsibility to make sure that our chapters are cultivating those leaders. So when they leave high school and they decide not to go to college, they're in the workforce being incredible people and incredible leaders. They might not be influencers. Not everyone's meant to. Everyone plays a very specific role. But they'll be someone in something very important, and they'll plant seeds. And that's all you have to do, is plant the seed. And then let truth grow from there. But thank you again for the time that you spent with my husband on that final conversation. It meant a lot to him. It means a lot to me to be able to have that to show my babies one day.
Thank you, Rob. Coming up, should women focus on their careers or building their families? We'll ask Erika Kirk what she believes as a mom and now as a CEO.
We're a pretty religious nation.
Welcome back. Erika, Charlie's last book, it wasn't about politics, it wasn't about policy, it was about the Jewish Sabbath, which he kept for 25 hours, starting sundown on Friday night through sundown on Saturday night. What made Charlie so passionate about this subject?
He was on the verge of burnout, and he thought to himself, what can I be doing? And he always loved the 10 Commandments. And then he saw it, honoring the Sabbath. And he realized that if you don't, this one commandment, if you don't honor it,
you're welcome.
You're the one who misses out on the gift, not God.
Are you keeping it?
I'm trying my best.
Is it helping?
It is. I feel close to him. I break it apart though. So instead of a full 24 straight, I'll break it apart only because my mom's sick and I need to be available because I'm her medical power of attorney. So I need to be available if something happens. And so I make it what works for me. But that's what was so beautiful about that. Charlie wasn't legalistic about it. He's like, make it your own.
Erika, you have made a lot of comments that a lot of people have noticed about women, suggesting, you know this, right? Suggesting that women should get married young, that they should have children young, that they should prioritize family over their careers. And at the same time, you are now doing both. You now have 2 young children, I think both under the age of 3. And you're the CEO and chairwoman of Turning Point. Square that for us. Some people look at you and say, you know, she's trying to make it about
you guys. I guess for me, this part of the interview, I'm kind of like, you know, whatever she feels about family, is that her 2 daughters lost their dad. And whether you like Charlie Kirk or not, nobody should be unalive just because of the way they think, just because you guys don't agree with the things that Charlie Kirk was talking about. Like, what are we doing? It's almost like we're going backwards.
Binary choice. You can be the trad wife or the girl boss, but look at her. She's having both. What do you say to them?
Right. Well, I didn't ask for this. Obviously it's a blessing that I view it as a blessing. It's a duty to my husband. But I was very happy being a stay-at-home mom. There's nothing wrong with being a mother. There's actually more beautiful and emotional and powerful job title, if you will, being a mother. And for me, I experienced what it was like living in New York, living that boss babe culture. But when I met Charlie and we had our babies, I was in it. That was all hands on deck. I would take that world in a heartbeat. Always. But you know what? There was never any daylight between Charlie and I, and his mission was my mission. So stepping into this role is not so much a job title. This is not a 9-to-5 for me. This is something that I'm very passionate about because it's still a remaining breathing version of my husband, this Turning Point USA. So this organization is not just a company to me. And the staff and employees are not staff and employees, they're family. And so for me, it's a lot different and a lot deeper than a career. This is very personal. But yes, it is hard. But at the same day, it takes a village, and I have one heck of a village.
We have a woman here that has a question perfectly calibrated to this part of our conversation. I want to hand it over to Isabella Reggi.
Thank you. And Erika, you and your family are in my prayers.
Thank you.
I'm a 26-year-old Christian woman living in New York City. I would like to stay here long term, but I wonder whether it's sustainable. Do you believe there's a place for women like myself in modern cities who care about having a career, but also marrying a like-minded Christian conservative man?
Well, yeah. So it just depends on where you're looking. You know, if you're on the apps, I don't know if you're on the apps. I don't know if, I'm not going to ask you your personal journey, but what I will say is when I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here. So if you're expecting to marry someone that I was blessed with, like a Charlie, you have to be the type of woman that will attract a Charlie. Are you going to church? Are you going to Bible study? Did you tell your pastor that you are ready for the Lord to bring into your life the man that you've been praying for? You yourself need to be prepared for that man. And only you will know how to do that. Does that mean staying out and going out with the girls? I'm not saying you sit on your couch and all of a sudden he's going to knock on your door and be like, honey, let's rendezvous. Like, that's not how it happens. It's not. Granted, my situation was a little different. I wouldn't do it. You went to a job interview. Literally. So this is how good the Lord is. He knew that because I was not dating in New York City, he knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview. Because if that went in, no joke, if he came to me and said, hey, let's go on a date to Bill's Burgers, I'd be like, I am so sorry. Thank you, but no, we're not doing this. That was my mindset. I was not in that headspace. I just wasn't. But God will work in incredible ways when you surrender the pen for him to write your love story. And when you know that, look, if I remain in the jet stream of God's will, he will provide for me in ways I cannot even imagine. And that is my prayer for you. My prayer for you is to remain open and to remain prayerful and to let people around you know, old school style, I'm ready and I'm looking to get married and having a family. You can always have your career.
Claude, I didn't understand your comment. Can you rewrite that? Or I'm not sure what you're saying.
Able to have a family truly is a very limited, short window. You can start your career. If you have people and it's amazing business, have other people run it. You can still manage it. You can still pour into it, but you have your babies. And then once your babies are grown and the nest is empty, go back to your career. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't have a career, you have your babies, the Lord's going to inspire something inside of you that you're like, you know what? There's a problem. I have a solution. How many baby companies have been born out of moms? You know, like the little carrier seat or a stroller. Or
we live for that carrier seat.
Right. 100%. I'm not trying to plug them for like something. So I'm just trying not to even say the name, but you understand my sentiment is that there's something really special and beautiful about making sure that you are the woman that your future husband deserves and vice versa. Do not settle.
Thank you.
Thanks, Isabella. Up next, the emotional moment that Erika Kirk forgave her husband's alleged murderer. Stay with us.
Could you guys forgive the person that took out your loved one? I don't know. She's a Christian woman. She's Christian. I don't know if I have the strength to do that.
I forgive him. I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do.
Erika, that moment that we just watched was unforgettable. I was one of millions of people across the world that watched you get up on that stage and forgive the man who murdered your husband. And I think a lot of people looked at it and thought, this is incomprehensible. It's almost baffling. And I want you to speak to those who are unable to understand, really, that act of grace. How is it possible that you can forgive the person that murdered your husband?
I'm not forgetting what he did. I'm not condoning what he did. What he did is sick and evil. So sick and evil. What I am doing is releasing myself from the enemy's hands, where he could have a foothold in me And he could be able to just, like I said earlier, you have a choice. Am I going to take that moment? And I will never say anything I don't mean. I really prayed on that moment. That was a game time decision. I'll never say what I don't mean. But am I going to take that moment to say, rally the troops, burn the city down, march in the streets? Or am I going to take that moment and unleash something like we talked about, even greater, more powerful, and say, it's a revival? And let that unleash and let the Lord use it in ways that no one else could have ever imagined.
If you were to meet the man, I won't name him again, accused of murdering your husband, do you know what you would say to him?
Nothing.
You would say nothing.
I have nothing to say to you. Nothing.
Is there a difference, Erika, between forgiving someone in a religious and spiritual sense, but also wanting justice for them here on earth?
No, of course. But we serve a just God. And I rest easy in knowing that he's sovereign, but he's just. And so let the Lord handle that.
I want to bring in our final audience question for tonight. I want to turn it over to Joe Lavoie.
Hi, thank you. Your faith in this process has been inspiring, and that inspires this question. How are you able to trust God amidst unfair and immense suffering?
One of my favorite books in the Bible is the book of Job. And what's so powerful about that book is that you read it and you go along and you say, how could bad things happen to good people? But what happens at the end of that book? God does restore. He does. Even more so than Job had prior. But when did that happen? It happened when Job prayed for his friends. Even though they were against him, even though there was all this drama, he prayed for his friends. You can call them enemies. That's not saying, oh, Lord, my enemy is like, no. There's boldness in being able to say, Lord, do what only you can do. And the Lord restored what Job had lost. That's how.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
I want to thank Erika Kirk so much for joining me tonight. And I also want to thank our audience for participating in this town hall. CBS News is going to have many more conversations like this in the weeks and months ahead. So stay tuned. More town halls, more debates, more talking about the things that matter. I'm Barry Weiss, here in New York. Good night.
Let me find you guys. Where are you? I do that. There you are. I do that every stream. I always forget how to come back to you guys. You guys, that was loaded. Let me get off camera for a second. I'm going to let me see. How do I do this? Give me a second. I want to drop a link. Hang on, you guys. I'll be right back. I'm going to mute. Okay. Let me get to you guys' comments. Sorry about that. You guys, that's a lot. Now, you guys that was calling Erika fake. Hey, Daisha. How are you guys calling her fake? Hold on. I posted a link on my community wall. I know y'all asking for it. Daisha. Hey, Daisha. Daisha said, I like the part where she said she didn't want to tell people to march in the streets, tear down the cities. Too bad Trump didn't take that advice January 6th. I don't know how you guys are blaming Donald Trump for what is called the insurrection. Donald Trump wanted a fair election, but January 6th was horrible. I'm not gonna hold you. That was horrible. But you guys calling her fake. How are you guys calling her fake? I thought it was interesting. Her rings are one of the first things I noticed about her, because she's absolutely beautiful. Like, she's a beautiful woman. And I pray I never know that kind of loss. Hey.
What up? What up? What up?
How are you?
Good. How are you? Is anybody else gonna hit the
Okay.
link?
I'm looking at these comments, and man, they were going in on Miss Erika.
Now, I will say this. RIP Charlie Kirk. But I think there's a divide with maybe a American, right? Because how Charlie Kirk got done, it was that there was police there. They seen the dude, like a skinny dude. He probably had to be like 120 pounds. He climbed up a roof, and that's why I need to tell people in the chat too. Awareness is valuable. Awareness. That's why I'm gonna ask you. MU, do you think that we need to have more CCWs in the world, or not?
I don't know. What do you think?
I'm just saying, if more people had, like the average Joe had a gun on them, they could have stopped that situation.
I'm all for the right to bear arms. How could he have stopped? How could he have stopped that though when it came from out the blue?
I mean, like somebody spotted him, right? Chat. So somebody spotted him and they seen
Somebody
him. You know.
did, but the thing that I think was hard was that it was so public, because I would worry about the other people that's around. I do think that, yeah, I think that's tough. I think that's tough. Paul, be nice. What are you talking about? I don't know. I'm on the fence about that one. I am. Do I want the right to bear arms? Do I believe in protecting myself? Absolutely. And I believe in protecting my family and standing my ground. Absolutely.
But if somebody in the chat wants to debate me on that, you guys, the link is
Don't look
dropped.
at the chat. Yeah, don't look at the chat. I have had a few comments that I think might be problematic sometimes, or if they address you. But for the most part, people are gonna say Erika has a meanie face. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. I don't know how she has a meanie face. I think that you guys, Erika doesn't care what you guys think about what she looks like or anything like that. She was a beauty queen pageant, whatever. More importantly than that, she was a wife and she's a mom.
Yeah,
And
she was an American woman and she lost her husband.
Thank you. And she's the CEO she's the head of Turning Point USA. You guys, all that happened was that she became larger. The organization got more recognition, and their message isn't going anywhere, and a lot of people like to hear their message.
And I will say this, MU, I think Charlie Curry said a lot of stuff that probably wasn't favorable, if I can use that word. But nobody should be killed for an opinion. Is where I stand with that.
That's where I stand as well. He said a lot of things. People say things that I don't like all the time. People in the chat right now are saying things that I don't like. That doesn't mean I can unalive you guys. And some of you are really trying my patience.
Facts.
Jay Stud has a question for you. How would a CCW have helped? I don't know if they're
A
asking.
CCW would help if, let's say, like, a lot of people that, now this is verbatim, a lot of people that get shot and killed, besides what Kirk have done, are at churches, at supermarkets, and in places in population. So a person with a CCW that's seen, let's say, like a terrorist, like, I'm gonna use a good example. I don't know, this happened in Denver, Colorado. Remember the guy that immuted, that tried to light people on fire, and the guy stopped him and shot him. That's a known fact. That if somebody had a CCW, you see like your grandma or somebody running around, and some terrorist is running around, and you shoot them. That's common law, because the police can't be everywhere. But good question.
Okay. Thank you for that. I heard her and Candace Owens are fighting. I feel that Candace is fighting with her. Candace has made a lot of videos. It's pretty unfortunate because Candace was friends with Charlie. They have pictures together. They obviously had a relationship, a relationship. And now it's like she's putting Erika in a bad light and coming up with all these conspiracies and talking about their religion and stuff like that. Oh, let me use my banner. Give me a second backstage. I see you. Oh, okay, I'll bring you up. You can keep your camera off. I want to bring you up right now. So welcome, Sterling. Let me finish
My boy Sterling.
Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you.
Thank you. So Candace Owens is doing a lot. Some of the things that she says, I'm like, okay, I could think about that. She shared text messages and things like that, but I think that what she's doing to Erika, in my opinion, is just bothers me.
What's she doing that's wrong? Is she being dishonest, do you think? Can you hear me?
I can't tell who's speaking. Let me turn up my volume.
Oh, let me turn up mine.
Yeah, that's Sterling.
Sterling, what's good?
Yeah,
can you repeat that? Please use your brains. I'm using my brains. Let me get out of the chat because y'all gonna tear me up. Y'all gonna tear me up in the chat.
I'm trying to turn my volume up. Is that better?
It's much better. Okay.
Okay, great. Maybe okay. Well, either way, just let me know if it's not good. What was the question? Because I was having trouble hearing you. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I just wanted you to repeat your statement because I couldn't hear you. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm having audio issues.
It's okay. Okay, you guys in the chat. So if you guys have a question for me, I'm gonna ask you respectfully. Some of you to put a question mark before the sentence. Other than that, I'm gonna assume that you guys are talking to each other. So I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? I was asking you like what you said you had an issue about Candace, and I was just gonna ask specifically, was there anything she said that you didn't like or that was untruthful? What was it exactly? Just curious.
Well, the thing is, okay, so with Tyler, she said a lot of things, and I think that a lot of the things that she's bringing up, coming through the relationships, putting out their text messages. If you're friends with me, I'm not putting out your relationship, my messages with you, even if you pass away, because I value our privacy. So I'm wondering how much of a friend was she, or is she taking advantage of the fact that she was friends with him? And Tyler Robinson, in my opinion, that's a pretty shut case. Everybody's entitled to due process. But all of this, he's not, what did Erika have to, what part did she play in this? Nothing. She didn't play a part in it. Not only that, but when she criticized her at the funeral for touching her husband's body and questioning how is she mourning, what right do any of us have to tell somebody else how they should mourn?
All I'm saying is, like, as far as the text messages that she's revealed, Turning Point revealed plenty of text messages on their show, and the ones that Candace revealed was really in a response to them calling her a liar. And then
Turning
so she had
wasn't married to her, and they didn't. And they didn't owe that. And Turning Point was being criticized because people were saying that it was MAGA and that it was done from the inside job. And I was like, you guys can't keep blaming Trump and MAGA for everything, because they made a big deal about this being on the inside. And when it came out that Tyler Robinson was a liberal and his parents were Republican and he was also in the same gender-loving relationship, those things came out and people still wanted to blame it on Donald Trump. So I really don't think that she had to put those messages out there.
But I think that what we're missing in the point is that when somebody gets sniped like Kirk or anybody else, is that we always blame Antifa or we blame a political party. I think the biggest elephant in the room is that we have a lot of people that are deranged in the United States. A lot of people have mental health issues in the United States, and I think we need to address those first before we blame it on the political party. So
I don't blame it on the political party or Donald Trump or none of that. What I was saying is that Candace didn't really do that either per se, but like when the text messages that she revealed were was to prove that she was telling the truth about what TPUSA was lying about and calling her a liar about. So she had to show those messages.
Sterling, I need you to do me a favor, friend. Is there any way?
Yeah, somebody get a frog.
Yeah, is there any way you could drop down and come back, or because you have like I want to hear what you're saying. I want to try to be rude to you. Okay, if you're listening,
Sterling is always
the
good
audio,
people.
and when I'm trying to hear you, there's a lot on my feed. There's a lot of noise on the feedback, but I hope you come back and make your point. Why would you wear a microphone when you're speaking to your deceased husband if you want privacy? I'm not saying, I do think that she documented it for the world because they're public figures, Angie. But everybody mourns differently. Could I do that? Absolutely not, because I don't want to share that with the world. But she chose to share it.
Hey Doug, you gotta sub up and then hit the community wall, and then she has a link to the community wall if you want to join in.
Thank you.
Just don't be weird and yeah.
If I don't know you guys though, you gotta come up backstage if I don't know you, and then I'll know that you're real. She wants money. Who wants money? Candace or are you talking about Erika? I voted for Trump. When you start with that, I never know what I'm gonna get. Let me get to your. I voted for Trump. I'm not leftist. You the slightest. However, if you can't see that this is way bigger than left or right, you aren't awake enough to see. I agree with you. I agree with that. It has nothing to do with right or left. It has, but people are trying to make it that way. It has everything to do with this person, Tyler. Now, allegedly, he still is entitled to his day in court. But the one thing I could say 100% is that nobody deserves to be taken out the way that Charlie Kirk was taken out. And all the videos that came after, you had guys getting kicked out of college for mocking his death. I didn't find anything funny about it. I can't agree.
Yeah, you can't mock somebody's death. Like if it happened to one of your family members or somebody in the chat, like you guys wouldn't be mocking that. And like I said, like living in Chicago, like a lot of people have been killed for mocking death, and it's a cycle that keeps going over and over and over again. So even if you don't like the guy, you don't. I mean, it doesn't mean he should die.
Absolutely. I was very emotional watching this interview. I think that it was a good interview. I think it was good. I think they asked the right questions. She made comments about what Charlie Kirk said about Black people and pilots and stuff. Honestly, people are going to say things that you don't like. But I did agree with a lot of the things that he said. Not everything, but I agreed with a lot of stuff. And I'm glad that they spoke to young voters about the Republican Party. Why are y'all beating me up on my Instagram? You can put it in the chat. I'm not gonna be mad at you. I don't know what happened to Sterling, so I'm just gonna have to roll. We mock because she's indirectly Trump lackey. I don't know what that means. Candace empowers Black women while disregarding the struggles of the Black man. Paul.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Candace Owens. I think Candace Owens is what we like to call a how could I be politically correct right now? Chat, help me out. Candace
Maybe not be politically correct.
Candace
But
Owens is how I don't know what to call her right now because I don't want to be demonetizing.
I like Candace Owens. I liked her a lot. I think that people forget what she said about her comment about Hitler was okay if he didn't globalize things. I side-eyed her. Nevertheless, I think that she's a brilliant woman. I love her values and her morals. I do not like what's happening with Candace when she turned on Trump. When she said that this was not the Republican Party that she voted for. I'm not even mad at her because honestly, some of the things that's happening with the Republican Party it's not what I voted for either. But a lot of the things are what I voted for. Okay.
Candace Owens doesn't have a she has a lot of opinions, but she doesn't have a resolution. Like she'll say everything is wrong, but she doesn't have a right to what's going to happen to have a resolution of the things that she's an opinionated like Stephen A. Smith. He has an opinion about a basketball player, right? But she doesn't. They don't have a resolution because they've never played the game. Kind of my 2 cents on that.
I hope Sterling didn't think that I was kicking him off, but you guys, it's just that I don't care if you guys come up, just your microphones and your cameras and stuff like that. The link is on my community wall. Oh, there he is. Okay. Because if your sound's not together, I will let you know. Because when I go to record the video and make a video from it, I can't use what you said. Hey.
Yeah, I apologize. I will give it
No,
one
it's
more
not
chance.
your fault. It's okay. Like you can't tell when you're talking, but we can tell. It's okay. You don't know.
Okay. Sorry, where were we? What did you hear? What's the question? Where were we
No,
at?
I'm not MAGA. I'm not MAGA, and this is a nonpartisan chat. You guys can have your opinion. Am I MAGA? No, I have never claimed to be MAGA. Where did we leave off, Sterling? You were making a good point.
That's what I was wondering. What the last thing you heard was because
we could hear it all. We could hear what you said. It was just that it had like that burping sound in the middle.
Okay, I got you. Okay, got you. I feel like people defend Candace, like if you can't understand it, or some people can't. Maybe you can, but it's because they say that she only asks questions, and you can't get mad at someone for asking questions. And if you were to say that she's made accusations, we could go through them one at a time. But she's kind of very careful not to directly say who's done what. But she does make statements like, "I think it's an inside job," and, "I think the government may have known about it," that sort of thing. And so people like that, and that's how she became the #1 podcast. Is because there's very few people out there asking those questions.
Now, Sterling, so I'm going to ask you this because, brother, we were talking last time. You're amazing. But when does trolling and fact and fiction actually come into actual real journalism? Because she said that Charlie Kirk is still alive and he never got killed. When we all seen him get shot.
No. Milo said that. Milo Yiannopoulos said that. But
No, but
Candace
Candace
just said
Owens doubled down on that and said that she doesn't believe that he's dead.
No, I don't. I never saw her say that.
She said that. Candace
Milo,
Owens.
hold on. Candace Owens.
That's why she keeps asking, "Where's the
Yeah.
body?"
She don't believe
she has
he's
a
dead.
lot of nerve asking that. We've seen it. I think that is so wrong. And let me tell you something. Erika, so Candace Owens is making a big deal about where's the body? Where's the body? I think that's ignorant. I think that is very just problematic on so many levels. Because let me tell you something. Erika said that she wants to keep that to herself. She has every right to. I wouldn't share where the body is with the world. You know why? Because people would try to I don't know what they'll do to the grave site.
Hold on, Emmy. You can look up Candace Owens. Like, just put a Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, and she literally is putting debunking the whole situation that happened to him being shot. I'm not lying.
No, but does she say she thinks he's still alive?
No, she didn't say that verbatim,
No,
but she's
no,
putting that out there that maybe there's a conspiracy
no.
around it.
That's why she's questioning where's the
Yeah,
body.
yeah,
So
but
that
as
makes
to questioning whether there's a conspiracy back here is different from making a claim that she thinks he's still alive. I've never heard her say that. Now maybe she did, but you'd have to prove that to me. What I heard her say is, "Where's the body?"
First
Which
of all,
I would.
somebody in the chat named Shy, like you've been saying a lot in the chat, like you're mad at the chat and I'm a liar. Like, why don't you hit the link so we can talk to you? Because everybody here is actually talking and we're having a good time talking. Like, why don't you hit the link so you can tell me what you don't like about what I'm saying? Because I'm not lying about anything I say. I'm not on here to lie to you. And your edges is bad too. Go ahead.
You talking to somebody in the chat or what?
Yeah, somebody in the chat.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. Like she asked where the body was. I never heard her claim that he wasn't buried. Another reporter did. His name's Milo Yiannopoulos or something like that, and he claims to know it, but she never made that claim that I heard. I just want to clarify that.
Sebastian, I don't know what happened. Thank you, Sterling. I want to Claude, you're the only mod I have. What's going on? Okay, you mad. You just C42. I mean, I'm like in the middle of that. Who you talking to? Bring up facts or spread a lie. She never said. Oh Lord, who's okay? Hold on, I gotta use my banner.
And another thing I hear is people saying that she's made a lot of money off of this, but you should ask yourself
What's
how
that?
much money
RIP edges. My bad.
I don't know who's backstage, so I'm gonna use my banner the whole time. Because unless you cam up and come on camera, then I don't have to use a banner. But let me where's my banner? Here you go. Okay, I'll bring you up. You're not coming on camera, right? So I'll just have to have you up for a second. There you go.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. Welcome. What's your name?
Kayla.
Hey, Kayla.
Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, I just wanted to say that I think that it's like it's an indescribable feeling to see people like defending that it's okay that Erika lost a husband and her kids lost a father. That's just regardless of it's bigger than black and white. It's never okay for us to sit here and like defend a public assassination. I'm not saying you guys are doing that, but it's so sad to see that some of society is really in the mindset of like, regardless of any belief system, that's crazy. I wanted to like say that flat line. And I really just believe that Candace is, because like on either side of it, we can't say how Erika should grieve and mourn. We can't say how Candace should grieve and mourn. I think Candace just really wants to find the truth for her friends. That's how I would want my friends to act if I got publicly assassinated. I want them to dig for the truth. Now, like her coming after Erika specifically, I'm not sure. I'm not too educated on like, kind of how she's handling it, and then the whole money situation. I think when money's involved, it just makes everything more complicated, So, and especially politics as well. There's gonna be conspiracy theories surrounding it. There's gonna be people trying to, make up little things to make it bigger than it is, and then there's gonna be people trying to minimize stuff. I think it all boils down to, there are people putting lies on Candace, and they're, probably not everything that's being said about Erika is truthful. I do think that the way that everything went down was really fishy, though. The whole thing with the gentleman that is accused of shooting Charlie, and there was even like talk of like the gun that he was shot with. He was supposedly shot with a 30-06, but I guess it was stopped in his neck. I mean, there was supposed evidence of someone that was getting the event together on the Turning Point side. They were saying that, hey, there's roof access. Is there a way that we can get that blocked off or secured? And then it was just completely kind of pushed to the side, you know? And it's like, and then he was at the Dairy Queen, and they said he changed his outfit, but only
ma'am, what's your name?
Kayla.
Kayla, I want to piggyback on that point
Yeah.
because what you said is actually true. It happened to many of presidents. I'm
That
gonna
is
give you
true.
one of the best presidents that ever, John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
They still don't know how he got done like that. But I'm not putting Charlie Kirk and John F. Kennedy in the same thing. But I'm just
Right,
saying, like,
right.
some things are just like how can somebody have a perfect shot from that roof and be there and everybody seen him in broad daylight? It was the same thing that happened to Trump when they tried to assassinate Trump allegedly, and then only clipped his ear.
Right. It's like, so that there's always going to be that suspicion of, how did this happen? When, regardless of how you feel about Charlie Kirk, and I'm just saying this in general because, and I appreciate you misunderstood for letting me come on here. And, I want to make sure that I make it clear that I try to be completely respectful. I am a firm believer in Jesus Christ. I do respect the fact that Erica, tries to upkeep that, we're supposed to forgive so the Lord can forgive us. I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment, things like that. So I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and kind of respectfully and like civilly debate, because this is something that Charlie was big on too, was instead of war and guns and violence, let's just have words. Let's look at, what is the resolution for things, and, how can we come together even though we have like different beliefs?
Well, even in China saying that the same thing happened to the Queen of England. She miraculously died in a car crash in a tunnel in England.
Yeah, and it's just like, and
like
then
some
I
things
mean,
don't make sense,
dude, and you can look at, like, I mean, we can even talk about like celebrities, like way back in the day, like Jimi Hendrix, for example. There was suspicion around his death, Kurt Cobain, and everybody's like, oh, it's a 27 Club, these are rock stars, what are you talking about? But these are big people. It's like, okay, how does that happen? How do people just mysteriously up and die? Like Kurt Cobain, he was like, they were like, oh, he shot himself, but the gun had no
Sorry,
fingerprints on
chat.
it.
The Princess Diane. My bad, Caleb. Princess Diane. My bad. Thank
No,
you,
you're
chat.
good. And the whole thing with Kennedy is there was a guy who was put in custody. He did he was I guess the word is, he was arrested, but he didn't go to trial. And one of his famous last words were, "I'm just a pawn in a big scheme." He went up to the 5th floor of a library with a rifle, to have a clear shot of the president's head. And then, like the same thing with Jeffrey Epstein, who is not, of course, not an honorable mention, but how is he in a high security prison? And then he hangs himself while guards are on a coffee break or something
And
like
I
that.
wanted
None of this makes
to
any sense.
MU. I'm gonna let you handle this too as well. So the Republican Party, which I voted for, they came out and said that there's like this Epstein file thing. Then they said it was denied. Now it's been approved, and there's still no fruition of who's on that paperwork. Do you think like maybe it's what do you think?
I think there's people on that list that they are not ready to out. Like, for instance, because I mean, it like same thing with Diddy. There are all kinds of people on all different sides.
But did he's a scapegoat the same way when there was pressure on the Democratic Party, they put Bill Cosby in that same situation.
I feel like, so no matter what side you're on, if you're caught, they're gonna throw everything at you, so it's not on them, right?
I
So,
don't think Trump is on something is I think the list is bigger than Trump. I
oh,
think there's a lot of
absolutely.
people that are on that list that people don't need to be. And the sad thing is that a lot of people don't realize this that Epstein is actually from Israel. He's
Well,
the
if you
J
look at
word.
him, you could tell he's not white. You can tell he's not just, European, I guess, because see, that's so when I say it's bigger than black and white, it's such a deeper thing when I say that. So the thing is that they want all of us to sit here and debate about these things so we don't see the real issue is that it doesn't matter if it's Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal. They want us all to have these different factions so we are divided, so that we do not come together as one to address the real issue, which is
Facts.
division. So they're gonna sit here and they're gonna and that's why I say like certain statistics we can't trust. So me personally, I grew up in poverty, right? Section 8, all the good things. So they're going to take these kids from different backgrounds and they say, okay, in this systematic, whatever, they're more likely to do this and that, so that you feel you have a lid on your capabilities, so that you do depend on the government, so you do depend on welfare, food
That
stamps,
is a
etc.
really good point. And I live in Chicago, Illinois, but let people tell it. They'll say Chicago is the most murderous city, but they don't know that Jackson, Mississippi has more murders than Chicago. St. Louis has more murders than Chicago. They'll
There's
tell
certain
you that
places they want you to feel more safe so that you
right.
can underlook the problem. And see, that's something I did respect a lot about Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, was that I always felt that they told us, hey, you don't have a lid on your capabilities because of where you come from, because of your skin color, because of your economic status, and that's why I say no matter what, there is never an okay for someone to be publicly assassinated, especially in front of their wife and kids. And the fact that like we're seeing, because he spoke on a lot of things that people were nervous to speak about, like um statistics of like, I guess race was a part of it, but a lot of what he said was taken out of context, and it used to aggravate me so much. It used to agitate me so much that he was taken out of context. The same thing with Candace Owens, and he spoke against abortion. He spoke against gender, quote unquote, gender affirming care in minors. Just and the list goes on. So I feel like he was even put at as almost as a scapegoat, because it's like, oh, okay, this is what happens when you speak out against this. Somebody's going to do this. It's unavoidable. How could the fact that people could say it is so heartbreaking? It is.
Mm,
Go ahead, Emmy. What do you think?
that's layered. Which part of the question you want me to answer?
What do you think about like as far as like the Kirk situation and like the geopolitical things that are happening now? What do you think? Like how do we move forward?
Good morning, Tehran. I see you guys. How do you move forward is acknowledging what's happening, taking out whether a person is Republican or Democrat, and looking at the crimes that's being committed. Nobody should lose their life for what they think and what they believe. I don't agree with a lot of things that people say to me. I don't have the right to take their life.
Absolutely.
We see what happened with Luigi Mangione. I think that people are also prejudiced, and you guys can disagree with me, against extremely wealthy people. We feel that wealthy people are somehow taking from the poor, and I'm not going to say there's not a wage gap and all that. I'm not saying that, but there is a demon.
Good point.
When I say
Good point.
I mean a lot of people.
Demonize.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Kayla.
Miles, whatever his name is, shouldn't have shot that dude in the back just because he said the
You talking about
dude was
Luigi?
more
Which one you talking
wealthy.
about? With the C, with the
Miles Janali,
wait,
whatever his
United.
name is. Yeah, he shouldn't have shot that dude
Okay.
in the back. That's a coward
No,
way to.
they looked at him like a hero. The guy didn't do anything to him. He had an issue with healthcare, whatever. But the fact that he, stalked this guy, took his life, and now he's sitting on trial. Okay, all these people that's cheering for Luigi, nobody's gonna have to do this time for him if he's convicted, and I think it's very problematic. We should not look. I heard a person talk about doctors and how wealthy they are, but I don't hear y'all talking about these athletes and these
Well, I
celebrities.
work in healthcare myself, so like, should I get shot because I'm helping somebody push epinephrine and saving somebody's life with some drugs that we use? Like it's not our fault that we went to school so long to help your life.
You know,
You shouldn't be
it's
shot
crazy.
for
If a
going
person
to.
goes to school and dedicates exactly, Jetty, if a person goes to school and they earn a higher wage, or maybe they have wealth in their family, great. Not everybody deserves the income. I'm not gonna say deserves. Not everybody has done the work of a doctor or a lawyer or stuff like that. It doesn't mean I don't believe that people should that people shouldn't earn a livable wage. I believe that as well, but I do not believe that all wealthy people are evil. I believe evil people are evil, and there's poor evil people. Okay.
There's evil people everywhere that come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. And I mean, I think that's so messed up because you dedicated your life to your career. You decided, hey, I want to be a doctor. I want to help people. You know, whether it's, pediatrics, endocrinology, nephrology, neurology. I mean, everybody plays a part. And I mean, even in like small jobs, like the cashier at the store you go to, if they didn't do their job, you wouldn't be able to get your groceries. It's just everybody plays a part,
Good
and
point.
everybody
I feel
has
like
it.
everybody. I don't care if you work at Walmart. I don't care if you're doing a psychology degree. I don't care if you're shout out to my people that do trades, as far as like you don't even have heat or HVAC without HVAC, and so everybody plays a part. Nobody's better than the other, so
And
nobody should
everybody
be.
has an opportunity to move up in whatever position they're in as
Exactly.
well.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that oppression is not a thing, but I think that was another point that Charlie Kirk made, was like, hey, they're trying to put this label on you so that you feel you cannot move up in the world
Hold on, Kayla.
because
Let
of.
me, because I work in healthcare. Let me address this person in the chat that's talking about
And
healthcare. So
stop.
it's the hospitals. It's you know what? You need to look at the Netflix series. It's the pharmaceutical companies. The doctors have nothing to do with pharmaceuticals.
No, they don't.
So pharmaceutical companies are the ones that's actually making the money. That has people drugged out.
Doctors
That
has
it's
nothing
not the
to do
doctor.
with
You
that.
get
Or what
prescribed what you're gonna do after a surgery, but it's the pharmaceutical companies that are the ones that's gonna make the money. Look at COVID. How much money did it make for COVID? Making you guys get a shot 3 or 4 times. That's
I
a
agree.
pharmaceutical company. Dr. Fauci did that. It's not the doctor that's every day saving your life when you you get hit by a car and you got to get pulled into surgery. That has nothing to do with the pharmaceutical. The pharmaceutical companies are the one that owning the money, not the
I
doctors.
want to touch on what someone just commented. I agree, especially where I'm from. Teachers are severely underpaid. I'm below the Bible Belt. I'm in the South, and it's really unfortunate because what happens down here is that they widen the school zones. The schools are severely overpopulated, especially public schools, and it's so crazy because like I'm so much more paying attention to this because I actually just had a baby. And my son's going to be growing up. Thank you so much. My son's going to be growing up in, this world, and I have to really pay attention to the stuff that they're.
You
That's
guys
another
don't
thing.
know what the hell. Excuse me, Kayla. You guys don't know what you're talking about. I'm in med school to be a doctor. You guys have no idea how much that we have to fight to get to that point. Like most of us go through 6 to 7 years, maybe 8 years in med school. You guys are always blaming something that you guys won't do. Working at Walmart don't make you no doctor, but you'll be the same people over there. Like, oh my neck hurts. I need a spine infusion, and then y'all go to the same doctors as you hate. So you go to school for that long and see how long it take you to get to that point where you know what you're talking about. So
I feel like
stop it.
I feel like people trust way too much what they read on Google, what they hear in the news and stuff like that. And I think that it's a saying that I always use is you have to water your own plants. You have to do your own research on reliable sources before you speak on things, especially when it comes to stuff like people, they go to school for years to learn this. That's like, because I used to be really ignorant on like resident doctors. I was like, oh, I'm being, treated by a student. No, they're going through to learn hands-on. You'd rather someone have hands-on experience when it comes to like, treating you in the ER rather than they just read a book the whole time. Like I had to go through that. I had to go through learning that's a thing, and that's how you get better care. Um, you know, like I feel like a lot of people, they just like they speak, and again, I'm speaking from experience because I've gone through this. You hear one thing and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely what it is. That's a
But if
fact.
it's all healthcare in the chat, if it's all healthcare, then why go? Drink a ginger ale and do a Dr. Seppi and don't go.
Let me
I mean,
say this, you guys. Leave the doctor comments alone. I am very close to a doctor. I work. I'm not gonna dox myself. I know how these practices work. I don't care about y'all ignorance towards doctors. Um, I don't even entertain the chat that way. But since my panelists are engaging with you guys, I'll address it. Pharmaceutical companies have doctors are not making money from these pharmaceutical companies. They may offer samples and stuff like that. That's not even what my stream is about. I don't care about your opinions about doctors. Period.
I feel
I
like
don't
we
care
are
if you
going a
guys
bit off
don't-
topic.
Give me a second. I don't care if you guys don't like wealthy people. I don't care. What I do care about is the fact that people can walk around and lose their life because of their opinions. Because they can't just say something and they can't believe in something. They got to worry about some maniac or some extremist taking their life. That's what I care about. I don't care about your opinions about doctors. Okay? Fire up a live stream, talk about doctors. That's what you can do.
And then I'm gonna make one
Good
more
morning,
point.
Betty.
These are the same people that don't even know their own blood pressure. They're walking around with gout, they foot getting cut off. They don't take care of themselves. And then they blame somebody else because they don't even take care of themselves.
Who
That's
cares
all I'm gonna
about
say about that.
doctors' opinions? It costs a lot to run a clinic. I know, and they're going to make a higher wage because they spend 4 years in medical school. They spend 4 years doing a residency, and then it just takes a lot. So they are going to earn a lot, but it
Yeah,
also
I'll be in
costs a lot.
my
They got to have
residency in next year. I'll be in my residency for sure.
Congrats on that, by the way, Midwest. That's an amazing achievement.
I respect
Thank
highly
you.
educated people, but I respect people that go to trade school. I respect you guys no matter what they do, and I'm not going to argue about you guys' wages and what you should get and what you should get. I'm not going to argue that. You get what you get, and you whatever you put in life is what you get out of life. Now, with that being said, that really had nothing to do with what I was talking about, so I really don't care.
Oh, my
I
bad,
don't
my bad,
care.
Emil. My bad, Kayla. Sorry.
No. It's
No, you're
like I
responding to
said.
the chat. You're responding to the chat. You guys are saying, okay, I'm talking about blood pressure. If you believe in God, you see an angel. Oh, that was a long comment. I'm sorry. I gotta go to a shorter one. The real
I
problem
just
is
want to be
billionaires.
respectful to Misunderstood and her
No,
live
you're
stream.
very
This is
both
her
of you guys are
platform.
respectful, but I can see that some of the comments about the doctors being is triggering you guys a little bit. So it's okay. Look at the guy I mentioned, Luigi Mangione, that took out the CEO of the healthcare. You know what I'm saying. I don't find any excuse for that. He wasn't, number one, this guy comes from a wealthy family. He wasn't struggling. It wasn't like he was not receiving some treatment for healthcare. There really is no excuse. You guys are making all
Facts,
these
Emil.
excuses. You
Facts,
guys are
Emil.
making all
He
these
came from last time I checked. He came from a really wealthy family. He had no reason to do anything. Then he didn't even use the actual firearm that he bought. He had a makeshift firearm, shot a dude in the back. That has no excuse. The dude is completely cockamamie. I mean, there's no excuse for that. And let's say you don't like healthcare or whatever. Do you play God?
I think that's a great point too. I think that I'm not sure what y'all's like spiritual beliefs are, but in my opinion, I think that everything in America was at one point grounded upon like Christian beliefs and traditionalism. I don't really get into the whole Christian nationalism thing, but at the end of the day, I think that like there were certain traditions put in place when the country was founded. I believe that structure was at a time respected and did uphold a good example of how we want to raise our kids, raise our families, pursue happiness. I mean, the pursuit of happiness. It's in there. I mean, and I feel like people are just they're not understanding anymore that there is You're not God. You're not God. You don't get, regardless of how you feel, you do not have that right to go and take someone's life simply because you don't agree. You do not. Um, I mean, I could say anything. Words are words, sticks and stones.
Same thing with
So
Charlie Kirk. Just because Charlie Kirk says something that maybe nobody agree with, he shouldn't be sniped and killed.
absolutely, and and that again, touching on with Candace, I really think that she cared about Charlie. I think that she truly just wants to find the truth. Is she going a bit hard when it comes to Erica? Probably. I do think that some of the things she was saying was kind of like a um response into Turning Point, and how some of them are kind of, going back at her. It's kind of a back and forth thing. And with the Luigi gentleman, like, I see absolutely no evidence on why Charlie deserved to die. I see absolutely no evidence on why that gentleman had to die. Whether he was in healthcare or a lawyer, it doesn't matter where he worked, what he did for a living. I feel like people are just getting to a point to where, and mental health is a real thing. I heard us touch on that earlier. Mental health is a real thing, and I think that I do agree with the Second Amendment right, but I don't believe that everyone needs to have a gun because of
I'm
this
gonna give
whole
you
mental health thing.
now, Kayla. Look, you're awesome. When it comes to guns, right? I wanna go this. Is it okay, and you, Kayla, if I go this way?
Mhm.
Yeah, sure.
So, um, of course, we know guns don't just shoot themselves, right? And the mental health thing is
Absolutely.
going on. I'm gonna use Utah for this one. A guy in Utah, uh, literally set a fire to bring first responders there and kill them. Is it the gun's fault or is it the mental health fault for him doing that?
That's the people. Let me make sure I stand on that point. I don't believe guns are the problem. I believe people are the problem. 100%. I do not believe guns are the issue. I do not believe
California, New York,
California
Chicago,
has the most ridiculous restrictions on gun laws. That is
and I'm in
completely
Illinois,
irrelevant.
and we have like some crazy gun laws. New York City has gun laws. Um, most of the time with gun laws, here's my thing. Hear me out. With gun laws is that even though you can lock down California with this and these gun laws, do crimes still happen there? Most of the time in Chicago, you can put a whole bunch of gun laws on everybody, but they're still gonna find a way to have a gun. A criminal always
Yeah,
has a gun.
I was gonna say that. So most of the time, and then I'm gonna hop off this because this is getting kind of off track, and like I said, I want to be respectful.
You're
But
Kayla, you're always welcome, and I love your comments, and you've been very respectful. You're amazing. Go ahead.
thank you,
Yeah, I'm
baby.
sorry, Kay.
So I will say this 100%, and then this kind of relates to the gentleman who shot Charlie and who shot the Luigi man. I don't mean to be rude. I don't know his name, but I do know the situation that we're referring to. Um, so 9 times out of 10, what these gun laws do is they restrict law-abiding citizens, such as, I'm gonna say, for the sake of the argument, the three of us. We respect the laws. We respect our
Bingo.
country. Therefore, um, the criminals that are most of the time committing this gun violence, they are not affected by these gun laws because they are not legally obtaining guns. Because they're not going to the store and say, "Hey, I'm gonna buy a 9mm pistol because I'm gonna go commit a murder," because they know they don't want that gun tracked back to their name, etc., etc. So that gets into the whole black market situation and what's taken in and out of our country, um, under the guise of the cartel, and Charlie spoke on that too. Charlie spoke on the cartel, and so he had a lot of enemies. But the gentleman that killed him, there was a whole bunch of other factors at play that people felt could have been part of his motivation. But then we hear these whispers of a statement from him that they were going to kill my family. Who's they? But again, there's this whole mental health situation. What does this guy's mental health background look like? There's still a lot like coming to the surface with that. So I think there's several factors at play. um you know I just And then there was the whole argument of he was shot with a 30-06. How did that not explode the gentleman's neck? I don't know if I'm not gonna say I'm the most educated
Hey,
with
can
guns,
you
but
take Ricky out my chat? Ricky, I asked you to stop. Sorry, you guys. So just remove my chat. Let me go
Man,
to
Ricky
it.
Wallen in the chat. Get him up out of here.
I honestly I'm not paying attention at one point, because when people started saying like he's better off without a father like that, I stopped paying attention. And I think that especially our youth is so easily influenced at this point, and it's so sad that there are kids that are very young, they're seeing stuff like that, and they're just like sponges. They are sponges that just absorb that, and it's so toxic. It's in our schools. It's
Kayla,
everywhere.
you just hit it right. Like, please stay up because like you just hit it right on the head, and I love the way you broke that down because like what you said is spot on.
Because a lot of people they'll go anywhere, and especially the internet, where we have kids as young as like 5. I have siblings. I'm not gonna dox myself, but I have siblings, and it crushes me to my core because we have children so young, and people get on this internet and they run their mouth like a faucet, and they don't have the thought. Never pops in their head. There may be a child listening to me. Not even a child. There could be someone that is just so easily influenced. Like, I'm going to speak on something that was actually pretty close to me geographically. You guys may not be as familiar with this, but this just kind of plays on the whole influence thing. And these people did not deserve to die in any way either. Charleston, South Carolina, there was a shooting. The gentleman, what was his name? Oh my gosh, what was his name? Basically, he went into a church that was a historically black.
That was Dylan Roof, but
Dylan Roof. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I live in Chicago, Illinois.
Dylan Roof.
Like everybody
Dylan
around
Roof.
me is influenced and getting killed. Like I've been a
Yeah.
murder cat. But go ahead.
Dylan Roof walked into a historically black church. They welcomed him with open arms. He was a Caucasian male, just for the record. For whoever is not who is not familiar with this situation. So he walked into an historically black church that's been around for probably almost 100 years. And I live close by. Again, I'm not going to dox myself, but I've walked past this church. I've seen it. I'm not really worried because, God's got me. I'm not worried about any sort of fear on the internet. But so he walked into this church. These people welcomed him with open arms, and while they had their eyes closed in prayer, this gentleman slaughtered 8 people in this church. Now, there was a lot of factors surrounding this as well. They went through his search history, and they saw that basically he would look up black and white crime. When you go on Google, I'm going to make this very short. When you go on Google, it goes by keywords. So when you're looking at black and white crime, who's mostly looking at black and white crime? White supremacists. The first thing he sees is white supremacist websites. So this gentleman with a low IQ is being fed nothing but hate, misinformation, toxic, evil lies. So did that influence him to do this horrible thing? I don't know, but he was a youngin'. And he did do this horrible thing, and it was proven that he had a low IQ. So it's just going to show that there's all this information being bred, and then we see school shootings, we see public assassinations, such as Charlie Kirk. This gentleman had an apparent transgender partner, and I say partner because I don't know.
So Kayla, so can I entertain you with this? So
Yeah, for sure.
I live in Chicago, Illinois, right? So
Mhm.
like a lot of people don't know this, but I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
This happened recently. So they're actually trying to sue Cook County for this. So we have like women cops here as well. So they were doing a seizure in a part of Chicago, and the police are, since everybody has, criminals has so many guns, they get into a shootout. They went upstairs to do a seizure, and a girl cop, the police behind her shot her in the head while they were trying to shoot somebody up the stairs. So it was a cop on cop shooting on accident. Like Chicago is unforgiving. Like I know mothers, I know places in Chicago people get shot all the time. It's not on the news. I mean, there's more bodies being dropped in Chicago than any place else you ever see. It's normal for us when we hear shootings. We hear rat a tat tat things that sound like machine guns that kids got at 14 years old. So like, is that a disparaging way of the music that we listen to that we're involved, or is that what Chicago is? I'm gonna tell you something. It's not the music. Chicago's been like that since Prohibition because what Chicago was Al Capone, the gangsters,
I was
just like
gonna
in
say most of the big time uh
drug dealers.
yeah, and the weirdly idolized, if I'm not mistaken, the Black Gangster Disciples actually originated in Chicago. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Larry
Um
Hoover. Larry Hoover
yeah, Larry Hoover. Who
used to be in Panini Green, but see, they locked up the drug dealers, but there's no direction. So now you got so many sets that have no direction
well, and
because
Larry
no,
Hoover still has so much power, and that just goes to show that, like, and again, a lot of people, that's not a popular opinion, but a lot of people don't believe me when I say these street gangs are just cults. They are cults. Because if you look at the word cult, it's literally just a group of like minded individuals that follow one direction. Whatever direction that is, doesn't matter. That's why a lot of people compare religion to cults and stuff like that. But Larry Hoover got incarcerated, right? No kids. In prison, now has 3 different children by 3 different women. And he is in the maximum security prison with El Chapo, who escaped twice. I mean,
right.
you know, and
But
it's just
I
like,
think I think what I'm going at is that living in Chicago, it is like it doesn't matter if ICE is here or not. If you go to New York City or LA or like the big three, Houston, there the communities need to community themselves. Like if you don't have a community that actually says like, hey, that youngster over there with that shorty over there with that gun, nobody like we go out to some of these neighborhoods like North Lawndale and we talk to the community and talk to these kids and give them more things to do. You can't put a gun in some or just like completely forget about it and then say, you know what, we're gonna police them. Like it starts with us or you. If you see something that's happening, if you see somebody is out of control, most of these school shootings are people that known that they were crazy. Maybe they were writing some stuff on the wall like, hey, I want to kill my friends or something like that. And we're like, oh, he's just having a mental breakdown. No, stop and talk to that person. Nobody cares.
absolutely, I
Nobody
agree.
has humility for people. That's why people can do whatever they want to do because nobody would take their life and say, you know what, let me
Initiative.
stop and look at this person and see if that person is wild and crazy. I know this person is crazy. It's the same thing in Charlotte, North Carolina. A dude had 30 charges, and that girl that came over from maybe Ukraine and got her throat slit on a bus, but a dude that had 30 charges. There's people riding on these bus lines here in Chicago. They've got 34 charges and still get out. Just the judicial system failed us.
And I'm not saying, I completely agree. But then this brings up another. So how do we identify, like, what could we have seen in the guy who shot Charlie Kirk prior to his death? How could we have identified that that was going to possibly be a happening? What
Well,
could
we don't know, but it starts with parenting. There's a lot of people that have sex and have kids but don't know how to be a parent. Like
I
you're
agree
not
with
paying
that
attention to
too.
your parent. Like if I have a son and he's buying guns, the first thing I'm gonna do is like, why is you buying them guns? I'm not teaching you how to shoot. And even if I teach you how to shoot, I'm monitoring you. I can't be there your whole life to see what you're doing. I mean, you can't stop the inevitable. But people, if I was carrying a CCW, most people, if I had a big firearm, most people would they'd be on their phone too much to even know if I was carrying.
So when you talk about the CCW, how do you feel about states with open carry laws?
First of all, I don't believe in open carry because you're gonna put people in, like, the grandmas and stuff like that. I feel like CCW is the way to go. Open carry is like, hey, you're on your farm, your ranch, open carry, but in like a supermarket, you don't want to open carry because you're gonna scare some people. Some people don't like guns. But
I agree. Like in my state, I'm in South Carolina. In my state, it's open carry, but some people that I know I'm acquainted with are like, okay, cool. Like I'm just gonna go flaunt my gun around. I'm like, no, that's not that's not what
but
this
I
is
feel
for.
I feel like as a woman like you or MU or anybody in the chat, the Brown University shooting that just happened, most people get shot not just in the hood in Chicago. They get shot at Walmart, at a church like Dylan Roof, at a
Absolutely.
university, at a school. So most people should carry there more than less being in some neighborhood, because most people not getting shot in no neighborhood unless you know somebody. But
Right.
most people are getting shot in places where everybody goes in population. And now they're scaring the population like you can't go outside. No, we need to carry.
The way I was always raised, um, from a youngin', the first time, probably maybe 5, and I'm not saying that it should be this way in every family, but the way, like, my grandfather started us out with BB guns and said, you point this at nobody, you point this at nothing unless you are going to shoot it, and understand that when you shoot this, it's going to have consequences, and the consequences will be dire, not could be, will be. This is a tool. This is not a toy. And that was with a BB gun. So when we finally picked up real guns, we knew right away this is not a toy. And I mean, it's so sad because, and I want to touch a little bit on what you said earlier with the music. I don't think the music is the biggest factor. I don't think that everybody dropping music like that is a direct cause of what kids
It
are
is in
deciding to
Chicago
do.
though. Sad to say it is in Chicago because
Well,
people
because I
dish out
mean,
here.
you guys have like King
Yeah, it's
Von
drill. Well,
and
it's not
Lil
just King Von.
Durk,
It's
and
it's diss
I'm
culture,
just I'm it's the big names. Yeah, it's what is it? Drill music.
drill
You
music.
know
So a
that.
lot of people diss the dead, and that's what happens. And
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they get crazy out there. Talking about like dead people and I mean, and that's another thing. I feel like we've as a society. I want to say maybe as a collective, not even just society, we've kind of drifted away from morals. We don't think like, what if that was my mom? What if that was my brother, my sister? And I feel like a lot of people aren't being that way when it comes to Charlie, Candace, or Erica. I don't know. I'm not very educated on Erica and how she's moving after Charlie's death. I've just now begun to kind of hear about that. I personally don't. I don't know how I would react becoming the CEO of a company after my husband's death. I don't know how I would maneuver around that.
mm,
I can't say that I would do this, I would do that. I feel like that's very unfair. And I respect her so much as a God-fearing woman that she has said that she's forgiven her husband's killer. But there are some actions with Turning Point that I'm like, that's a bit questionable. And I think there's a lot of taboo around the whole subject of Israel. But I must say I have enjoyed this debate so much. I've enjoyed coming on this platform so much. You've both been very respectful. This has been nothing but an enjoyable conversation. But my son is waking up, and I have to go feed him.
you're a great mom, Kayla.
Enjoy,
So I
Thank
Kayla.
appreciate
you.
you.
That is awesome.
I did subscribe to you, MU. And perhaps if you come on a live again, maybe we could do this again sometime. God bless you both, and y'all have a wonderful day. Okay.
God
God
bless
bless
you.
you, Kayla. Thank you. That was a healthy exchange. Shout out to Kayla and her baby, and I love it. A young mom. I hope to see her again. If there's any way that I mean, that's about. I don't know if she has a channel. I don't know anything about Kayla, but I know that she's intelligent and she brought a lot today. So I really appreciate her. Right, Sebastian? Do you guys enjoy Kayla? Oh, wait. Is that you?
Yeah. So, hey, anybody want to hit the chat? I'm gonna drop out. MU, thank you for having me up.
Thank
Kayla was
you.
awesome. Thank you, chat. You guys have been awesome. I'm up
Thank
out
you
of
for
here.
I appreciate you.
Be safe.
You too. You guys, that was a healthy exchange. Shout out to Jetty. Shout out to Kayla. Thank you guys for joining me. You know what? No matter what side of the political fence you're on, we have the right to believe and think. That's what makes America work, right? We have the right to we have freedom of speech, and it doesn't mean you're gonna like everything that people say. So I try to look at the bigger picture. We have to have the right to say it without losing our life. And if somebody takes our life, they need to be held accountable, and the rest of the community needs to be safe. I know that some people do not like what Charlie Kirk said. They don't like what's going on with Donald Trump. I get it. But we have to have these conversations. We all live in this country, and I'm for America first. I'm for America first. Let me read a few more of y'all comments. And thank you guys for double tapping the screen, for subscribing, and all of that stuff. I respect you guys. And as long as you're respectful, even if you disagree with me, we're good. We're good, I promise. Jennifer. Erika wanted to come up. That's why she got rid of Charlie. I must have missed something there. Let me look at the end comments. Thank you, Claude. Thank you for modding. It wasn't an easy chat to mod. If your 15-year-old son is not home in the middle of the night and you're not out looking for him, then you shouldn't be surprised or blame anybody else if something happens. Whew, you guys. You don't have any final thoughts for me? Y'all have any questions for me? We'll probably be back later today. We'll be back later today. There's some things with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been speaking live a lot, and I'm definitely following what's going on with him. Our commander-in-chief, our president. Oh my, crazy one. Sis, it's not Democrats versus Republican. It's right. It's about right and wrong. Kurt, I agree with you. It's not Democrat versus Republican. Not at all. It's about right and wrong. And I pray that justice is served. I do. I'm going to follow this trial with Tyler closely. I'm very interested in it. And I don't know if cameras will be allowed in the courtroom. Did they speak on that one yet? If cameras would be allowed in the courtroom yet? I don't think so. I don't know. Did you guys catch that? What time later I want to hop on? I never know, Jay Studs, because I have kids too, so that's why I'm usually at nights usually. So I can't give you a time. Just make sure you subscribe and your notification bell is on. I usually come on at night. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to come on, you guys, around 9 and 10 Pacific Standard Time. So if that's not too late for you, come join me. Thank you, Claude. Jay Stud, look at my community, community wall. If you're familiar with that, my post, and I will try to announce the live stream there if that helps you. If you want a heads up, okay. But I would love to have you join the conversation. You would rather have Harris, well, Harris lost, Max, and I'm sorry about that. The Republican ran the popular vote and electoral vote because I believe, not even because people were Republican, because Donald Trump won the swing states, all of them. I don't think people were buying the agenda, this whole not protected borders. Thank you, Jetty. Aww. People weren't buying it. I need to go to bed because my brain is getting tired. Thank you. This whole transgender, the men in sports, and the whole you can go to prison and we'll pay for the gender reassignment surgery and all that kind of stuff. America wasn't buying all of that. We weren't going. So Harris, in my opinion, ran a weak campaign and Donald Trump won. Okay. Claude, what? Absolutely, that's what That's what's the First Amendment for. Okay, y'all, I need to go to bed. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I'm obviously tired because I'm starting to stutter and those kind of things. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate you guys, and just stay safe, and we'll talk very soon. Okay, bye. Please watch all of Candace Owens' shows on. I will, Jennifer. I will. I'll keep that in mind. I will watch her shows for you, and then I'll be prepared to give commentary on it. Claude, yeah, he won because he's a mercy. Kurt, mercy. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion. Whether I agree or disagree, again, I don't agree or disagree with anyone 100%. Okay, J Stud, nuts. Good night. All right, you guys, have a good morning. Jennifer, I will do that for you, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.